Indigenous people have lived in Australia for many tens of thousands of years, and they've lived through all kinds of fluctuations of climate, not caused by human beings but caused by the natural variations in climate that we experience over time. And they have come through that. They have succeeded in managing those changes and developing lifestyles that are able to adapt to the changes that they're experiencing. So one of the things that we're doing is we're working with 3 of the Aboriginal Shire councils here in the Cape, with Wudjil, with Hopevale and with Yarrabah. And the idea is to try and build capacity to manage sea level rise and also other things that will come with climate change that will affect this part of the world.
Wudjil is situated lower part of Cape York on the east coast. We're right near the coast and we've got the Bloomfield River going through the community, so approximately the population is about a little over 400 people live here in the community. We're close to where a lot of cyclone come through, where regular occurrence of natural disasters, so it's very important that we get prepared in terms of where we are situated.
Well, the Hopevale township is 42 kilometres north of Cooktown. Cookima, the clan, there's 46 clans altogether, something like that. Like 110,000 hectares in the Shire, so there's a pretty vast bit of country out there where people are starting to spread out and live in. They really need to know where their evacuation centres, and the evacuation centre has to be able to handle not only single people and all that, and but families. You know, I've been in the cyclone centre; it's just not big enough.
Yarrabah is about 40 kilometres away from Cairns. We are the biggest community, Indigenous community in Australia. There's only one access into Yarrabah. In the event of a cyclone or flooding, we do have evacuation centres here, but given the population of 4,000 to 5,000 plus, we might have to evacuate people into Cairns, you know. That becomes a problem because if the road is blocked off, the only way you can get people out of here is by chopper or by boat. And who's going to be out in a boat when there's a Category 4 cyclone sitting out there?
So my job is to run a national facility which is trying to build the capacity to adapt to climate change and sea level rise in Australia.
NCAF, who is rolling out the Coast Adapt tool, work with them to assist Queensland coastal councils to progress with the adaptation planning, to give an outline about the program, the requirements for funding, the eligibility criteria.
Looking at Jean's work and a lot of the future, I guess you'd call predictions and graphs, it sort of really drums at home how we have to start making decisions now, and we have to start being involved now.
The main thing we're looking at is how we can best use the tool, adapt the tool, modify the tool to suit us in preparing for changes that we're now facing.
Devastation can affect in all levels of our life, you know, whether it's the social, the economic, the environment, you know, it has a huge impact on, and we don't have the adequate infrastructure here. We don't even have the resource. Build some centre that can accommodate us, so when when we do need to evacuate, we don't have to leave home. When I talk about home, Wudjil.
A lot of our buildings were put in place years ago. We've got to spend a bit more time in terms of planning our community properly. As you can see behind me, there's a market garden there, and the community sits right near the Bloomfield River, so we want to avoid flooding and inundation of tidal waters coming into certain areas of the community.
The ocean's so close to the cemetery, and just judging by how far it is from the cemetery, it's about 50 metres. And given any length of time, if we do get a tsunami or tidal surge, you can see how far we are from the cemetery, and our cemetery would be inundated with water, you know. I just worked out there now, it's almost nearly 50 metres just from the high water mark to the fence of the cemetery. And just looking in there, that's all the pioneers who built Yarrabah, or helped to build Yarrabah.
How do we actually preserve our areas? Because when we risk assess, we don't focus a lot on how we preserve our most important areas, and where do we, or what do we do to protect our keeping places, you know, so that countrymen, when the sea levels do rise, that we can still protect our cultural heritage areas.
In one hand, you know, we got natural disasters, so it's important that we prepare. On the other hand, it's also about getting back out on country, getting our land and sea management practices right for our people here in Cape York. And it's not all about doom and gloom, so it's also an opportunity for our people. We do have land management rangers. They're out there, they're recording stuff, they're seeing the changes in our rivers and in our seas. They're looking at better fire management practices, and also trying to look at sustainable agriculture within Cape York as well. So it's important that we work together and trying to achieve the common goal.
Land management is actually an important part of what we need to be doing, and we need to be ahead of ourselves rather than behind, just coming around proactively and really going back on country and teaching people how it used to be, and plus learning that new knowledge about what we need to do to control things, you know. And that means that people need to get back on country and start recognising what's new.
Yeah, this tree, we're supposed to be up this for wet season, and we might get this.
Last year's.
Yeah, there's all the seed there, but it should have flowers now. It's no flower. Only the one they're hanging up, but it's, it's not
What,
really.
do you think it's too dry?
Too dry, I think.
I feel sad because we got no mai. Mai is important for us, and bana and baya. If we got no bana, no baya, we ule, you know. Even Walgar, Minya. It's very sad. It make me worry, all right. But Bama out there, listen, you know, Milgajane. Not only Ujalwara, but everywhere, wherever Bama is, listen and learn. The time is not waiting. The time is going fast.
We've been on this land and this earth now for over 40,000 years, and we kept it more or less natural, you know. And Indigenous people got a big input into the way the environment is to be controlled. I think the non-Indigenous got to take a leaf out of the Indigenous book for us to survive on this earth. And we've all got to work together to find some sort of a solution where we all got to live together on this earth, and some sort of solution to tackle climate change. And if we don't work together, I can't see us staying on this earth for another 40,000 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, such a beautiful place. Indigenous
Really.
knowledge and the Whitefellow Science is a real opportunity to address the risks and actually to move forward to doing something. I think this is a fantastic opportunity to really force white fellow society to pay attention to Indigenous knowledge and to use that knowledge in order to build response strategies that properly address the problem, that work with the country, work with the landscape in order to come up with solutions to climate change.